live from New York. It's a show that is not taking the latest Ravens loss very well.
You know, the only team that can beat them is themselves. It's the only team.
That is true. We are in the dark on what is happening.
Where is he? The show's on, Brew.
Okay, this is too much.
It ain't funny. Little help, Wild?
Are you okay, bro?
That arm's in a sling. Don't use it to prop yourself up. He is a great actor.
Rough night.
Oh, man. Wild, those lions are brutal.
Yeah.
But before I could even get the word sandwich out of my mouth, they jumped on me.
Did they?
They stripped me of my robe.
Oh my goodness.
But thankfully, you got it back.
They plopped down on my couch. They made me turn on 8 Mile, the movie with Eminem.
Yeah, we remember.
And then, this is hard to say. They forced me to make them a sandwich with some chips. And then the worst part was
Help him.
they wanted a certain type of soda that's huge in Detroit. And I had to drive all over town just to get some Verner's soda pop.
Oh, it's Detroit.
It's big in Detroit, I guess.
I didn't know.
Created in Detroit.
Yeah.
And they weren't kind to me. Wow.
Are you good to do the show?
Yeah, we
haven't
even
can
started the show yet.
I think I can make it.
Okay.
Well, good luck.
Thanks for making it here. I would have called out.
Well, we know that. We know that. You did that earlier last week or something.
We're starting with no sandwiches, but the Ravens did get rolled.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you. Lamar was sacked 7 times as the Lions offense ran all over the Ravens, racking up 224 yards and scoring on drives of 96 and 98 yards. Brew, is it time to worry?
I mean, I feel like the Chiefs, they're going to make the playoffs. They'll probably win their division because it's a bad division, and we'll see what happens against the Chiefs. But they're SBOB. And for that, I wouldn't worry this too much. There's still 14 weeks left in this regular season, but I'm very concerned.
Thank you.
That defense, we talk about the Bengals defense. We talk about the Cowboys defense. They're not that bad. I know you got a chart, and we'll see where they're ranked, and they've played 2 of the best offenses in the league in Buffalo and Detroit. But that ain't a championship defense. I mean, and I'll tell you, and Nick, I was serious when I said after week 1 that they are the only team that can beat them is themselves. Detroit beat them yesterday.
Yes.
Detroit beat them. And look, it wasn't a blowout, but they dominated the line of scrimmage. They rushed for 224 yards, all right? They only allowed the Ravens to get 85 yards rushing. That's the fewest amount of rushing yards the Ravens have had since Derrick Henry joined the team, since the season opener in 2022. That's 52 games they had rushed for more yards than that. And then last year they were first in yards, rushing yards for offense, and first in fewest rushing yards allowed.
Yes.
And Detroit just came in there like Dan Campbell and pushed them around. And so that's concerning. Offensively, they weren't good in the red zone. They haven't been good this year in the red zone so far. Last year they were number 1 in the red zone. This year they're like 17. So I expect that to get better. But it's kind of like if it's not one thing, it's another. Last week, the defense, it was the Browns, okay, but the defense was pretty good. This week, the defense fails you. The first week, Derrick Henry has a fumble. He's fumbled every game. I don't expect that to continue. But they are I know you think it's not good for them to face the Chiefs next week. I think that might be the best thing for them.
Well, listen, I mean, maybe. I have to say this. a couple things on a tough day for you. This is one of the reasons I love working with you, because I get irrationally angry at what I think is I don't get mad at bad commentary or what I think is incorrect commentary. I get really frustrated at what I think is inconsistent commentary. And what you said at the front end, which is correct, just like you had said, even if the Chiefs had lost to the Giants, or one of these teams is going to lose next week, you wouldn't be writing either one of them off to make the playoffs and potentially do damage in the playoffs. It would have been ridiculous, in my opinion. It is ridiculous, I should say, for folks who didn't have that mindset, which have been rife across sports media, that the Chiefs are in a 5-alarm fire, to then come on TV today and be like, man, the story is Detroit's really good. When right now, the Chiefs and Baltimore both have played one bottom feeder and one in a different type of ugly game. For the Chiefs, it was ugly because the offense couldn't get going. For the Ravens, it was ugly because in that Browns game, I didn't think the Ravens defense was that good against the Browns. It was just opportunistic. But the Browns moved the ball, and they both have lost two kind of mojo-sapping games against two other contenders. But I will also try to be consistent and say I agree with you, Brew. I think the Ravens are fine when it comes to are they going to make the playoffs. I think they lose Sunday and be fine. They could maybe lose the week after, and I'd still be like, in the AFC, because it's really hard to find the 7 playoff teams without Baltimore and Kansas City being in. Fine.
You got at least 6 losses.
Right, exactly. Fine for the playoffs. But what I will not say is that the Ravens are fine. Like, I think they are fine for the playoffs. Lamar seemed pressed in the opening drive. Like, he played well, and then we pulled a montage of every time they didn't score a touchdown.
Oh, yeah, he was.
They were coming off a win against a team that they rolled the last time they played, that plays in a conference that he always beats at home on Monday night, where you would he seemed pressed throughout. Obviously,
even on the field, he's looking, at the play call.
Exactly. He seemed stressed in a way. To be fair, the Chiefs have seemed stressed thus far this year, but the Chiefs weren't coming off a win by 3 scores. Like this was weird. Derrick Henry obviously flipped out on the lost fumble. I'm glad you're not attributing the loss to the fumble, because they could have won it had he not, but that's not why they lost. Right. And there's just a lot of weird stuff going on with Baltimore, and it all does really come down to this. Their defense is awful. And again, I will try to be fair. The Chiefs without their top 2 receivers, they're without Kyle Van Noy and Madubuike. Yep. Now, Madubuike, it's kind of a nebulous, scary neck thing, so we don't know how long he's going to be out.
He would have helped, obviously, against the run.
Yes, and Van Noy should be back. But this is what was so jarring. They got bullied. Those 2 95-plus yard drives running down your throat, the Lions, and I'm not being funny, did come in their house, put their feet up, and they did everything that had made the Ravens the Ravens.
Yep.
And for the Ravens now, Wilds, for the first time since Lamar became a starter, back-to-back games without 100 yards rushing. First time since Lamar took over, back-to-back games without 100 yards rushing. For them to, for the first time in a while, it felt to me like lose a big game without the self-inflicted wounds. I know Derrick Henry fumbled, but it felt to me like Detroit was in control of that game, and it was going to take. And I'm going to say one other thing about Lamar, because they showed it during the game, that Lamar averages less than 1 throwaway per game over however many games. Maybe throw it away a little more, or get back to running a little more. His refusal to get rid of the ball or take off and run really hurt him yesterday in those sacks. I know his numbers were great. I get all that. But the sacks were drive killers, and he took 7 of them.
I totally agree. His accuracy is incredible.
Incredible.
He made some throws that were just ridiculous, and he always does. But you're right, like some of those sacks where guys were tripping him up, if he had just taken off and ran, the old Lamar would have taken off and ran.
Correct.
And he's a great passer, so he's leaning into that, which I get, but he's got to try to find that balance because he left a lot of yardage out there on the field where he was looking to try to extend the play or make it a pass, and he's going to have to run.
You think that was all Lamar, or I forgot who had the sack, but it was just a one-on-one Lamar, and it like they felt like they played a very disciplined
No, some of that
game.
was that, but some of it to me
They played
was,
their lane.
if I can quote my good friend and former co-host Chris Carter, what he would call where you think he went sacks, which is when a quarterback avoids a rusher and like loops around him and then seemingly forgets that guy's still here. You know what I mean? Eventually he's going to come back. There were a couple where the guy who Lamar first avoided and ran past then caught back up to him and got him. But here's the other thing, KW, because this is a tough day because that side of the table's Ravens side. You picked him to go to the Super Bowl. What's the mantra you came up with?
Well, defense wins championships.
Defense wins championships. That doesn't feel like a championship defense.
Not last night, no.
And last year, of course, they were terrible early on. They got better, but I think they'll improve. But they're the Ravens. They will improve defensively.
DNA.
But you rarely, if ever, see them get pushed around like that.
Well,
I thought the Chiefs actually pushed them around pretty good in that AFC Championship
2
game,
years ago,
but
yep.
not quite like that. And so it's easier to fix the defensive backfield, which is what they did last year, than the toughness. And I'm not saying they're not tough because they are.
Well, you're kind of saying that.
No, they just they got pushed around last year.
And speaking of, so here's the thing.
up
This is
and
not
do that anymore.
a Chris Broussard-ish team because he doesn't like silly teams. They lost week 1 in silly fashion. You talked about the defensive backfield, Brew.
So don't do the podcast.
They're dropping.
I'm definitely not feeling podcasts the morning
hours
after
after
a loss.
So they're dropping podcasts. They seem a little vexed on the sidelines. They've had some silly losses. They couldn't run the ball, and they got the ball run all over them. I hate to do this to you, Brew,
This is foul play.
but it does feel like.
He thought it was going to be
No. Now that's a bridge too far. That's a bridge too far. As much as I love the Breakers.
Bro, I knew
Y'all see this, Ravens? Y'all see this? Do something about this. Next week in Kansas City, do something about this.
Bro.
Because I will have some red-clad breakdancers out here if y'all do.
Well, I mean, they got run all over.
They did.
It was up and down the field.
That's not their character. That's not who they are. That's not where they live. It was just it just happened. It's not,
Oh, wow, they're still going.
That
Was good.
Wow.
Hats down. Wow.
Wow,
Bro,
okay.
I'm just saying, there are a lot of similarities to these and some
I
teams we
refuse
usually
to
don't think are
accept that.
championship contenders.
That's all right.
Fellas,
All right, y'all.
phenomenal as always.
Got a week to
Bruce,
get it straightened out.
We can keep going, KW. There's no banner to drop.
I thought there was a
No
banner.
banner.
On the other side of the ball, the Lions have bounced back in a major
Thank
way
you, guys.
after their week 1 loss. We thought the coordinator turnover could hurt, but they responded by blowing out the Bears and now rolling the Ravens in Baltimore. Let's check out the vibe in the Detroit locker room. Ooh. What did the Lions prove last night? Oh,
Swagger fully back.
Yep.
And
You think?
this is the most points they have scored in back-to-back games since the Bobby Lane days. So in at least 60 years. I actually didn't check if it was
Well, it was
Bobby
a ton
Lane.
of points.
It was 90. They've scored 90 points. They never did that in the Ben Johnson era. And they did it in a Lionsy way.
Yes.
The flip on the goal line.
That was a phenomenal
play.
From Amin Rodney.
Yes, exactly. And the guts.
We got it right here.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
The gutsiness, not just of going for 4th downs, but what was so my concerns for the Lions going into the year were, how is the interior of the offensive line going to hold up? Last night they were phenomenal. Yep. How is Jared Goff going to be kind of emotionally after that playoff loss? Not only do I love that Dan Campbell went for that 4th down late in the game up 7 at midfield which I know Brew loves because he made it, to ice the game, but calling a play that says, Jared, we believe you. We've been running all over them. We can, nope, this is going to be Jared Goff. If you throw a good pass, we win the game. And they won it that way. And all of a sudden, week 1 just looks like, week 1.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And they get Green Bay again. That's the other piece of it, because they're both contenders. It's nice, I think, if you're the Lions, that it's a divisional opponent, so it's not the only time you face them. Like, had the Eagles done that to them in week 1, feels a little different. But now you try to get some get back. So I think the Lions should feel obviously great about what they did last night.
Yeah, legitimate Super Bowl contenders, which I was having my concerns after week 1 and even week 2 because it was the Bears. I mean, and we'll see if the Bears can resurrect themselves this season, but that wasn't that impressive because of what we had seen from the Bears. But last night, of course, was impressive. And I thought, shout out to the offensive coordinator, Johnny Morton, because he had been getting criticized, Ben Johnson this, Ben Johnson that. And he did a great job, as you saw that one play call. They had a flea flicker. They had a great mix of the run and the pass. And Dan Campbell showed I'm the one, and I'm sure he's still great friends with Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, I would think. But they were getting a lot of credit for what he did. He did turn that franchise around. And I think he showed that last night. And the way they did it was his style. They were daring, they had some trick plays, and they just punched the Ravens in the mouth. So I thought that was a big win for Dan Campbell and the narrative. I don't think we're going to hear much about Ben Johnson and Aaron Green being missed in Detroit.
That feels like that's over. That was a one, off season and then the Packers game storyline, but this deaded it.
Before we move on, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you miss the Lions a bit? I've sprung this on you, but I know
I was never fully out.
I know, but but they're your ex, and the Eagles
I've
moved
kind
in
of
with, and you're talking
bounced
about,
around.
changing your last name.
There's elements of the trick plays, the flash.
And there's the little bit of Schadenfreude for you wanting to stick it to Ben Johnson.
A little bit of that. I like the bowling celebration. I enjoyed that. They're a good mix of tough and fun.
You're also
I consider myself.
Yeah, and you're a long-standing margin of victory guy, which the Eagles haven't quite been. It just feels like the Lions still have a piece of your heart. Is all I'm saying. You've always believed in Jared Goff. Am I right?
The Lions were the first team with 2 touchdown drives of at least 95 yards in a game since the New England Patriots did it.
See,
NFL research, though. A little bit.
A little bit of myself. A little bit.
We'll maybe I'll come back around.
I mean, it's on the board.
Wants what the heart wants. Way too early look at the First Things First Bowl, Part 3. Ravens at Chiefs, Sunday, 4:25. Ravens open up as 2.5-point favorites in Kansas City. Now, remember, the Eagles were only 1.5-point favorites when we were there, and we thought that was on the verge of being disrespectful. Nick, we will start with you while Brew is getting bandaged up by our medical team. Is it panic time for whoever loses this game?
Absolutely not when it comes to making the playoffs. When it comes to winning a championship, if I were the Ravens, I would already be a little panicked. And if I lose this game, I'd be legit panicked. But first, hold on. I mean, we have to give this its just due. It is First Things First Bowl 3. We have to have that just to remind the audience at all times we're discussing this game.
Just great photo.
I mean, it is great. So here, listen. Both of these teams are 1-2. And I know people get tired of hearing me say this, but it is the truth. One of them has been to 7 straight AFC title games, 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls, won 3 of the last 6, and been to 3 in a row. The other one, in that same time frame, has been to 0 Super Bowls, won 0 Super Bowls, and been to 1 conference title game. One of these teams is known to, every year, play its best in the playoffs, and whose quarterback is known as a historic playoff riser, and the other team is known, unfortunately, as quite the opposite.
Right.
I will then add one other piece as to why I'm already semi-panicked about the Ravens as far as winning a Super Bowl. the Chiefs' issues are on offense. Mahomes has the ability to help that himself. The Ravens' issues are on defense. Lamar is on the bench.
Right.
And so I would just rather my weakness be where my best player is. And I would add, right now through 3 weeks, when I think the competition is actually quite similar. They both lost to 2 really good teams and both, beaten a really bad team, is the way I look at it personally. I think the Ravens' defensive issues, if we show the numbers, are a little deeper. The Chiefs' offense has been, sorry, Hubs, mid.
Yeah.
But mid. But it hasn't been awful.
Hasn't been the worst in the league.
Right. So that, you know what I mean? So it's bad because Mahomes is on there. You're like, why would you be mid? But the Chiefs' offense thus far this year has been like a C-. And the Ravens' defense thus far this year has been an F. So for all those reasons, I think the Ravens are oddly, need this game far more than Kansas City does.
They need it mentally to get over that hump of beating. And
beating the
I
Chiefs in
said this
general.
before last night. If you, especially if they had won that game. I mean, if they had won last night and then you go and lose to Kansas City, you're like, if we can't beat the Chiefs when they look down like this, and we're rolling, again, if they had won last night, when are we going to beat them? So they need to beat them for definitely mentally. But for the division, I agree with everything you said about the playoffs. They're both going to be there at the end and contending. But for the division, the Chiefs fall into 1-3 with the way the Chargers are playing.
For sure.
I think for them, it would be like, okay, they're probably not winning the division. Right. Whereas if the Ravens fall to 1-3, Cincinnati obviously no Joe Burrow. Cleveland's just bad. And Pittsburgh, now the Ravens may have to sweep their division, which will be tough no matter how bad the teams are because it's the AFC North. And so, but I think for the division, the Chiefs need it more to try to win their division. But I agree, mentally, it's more important to the Ravens, even with the Chiefs struggling like they are.
I think if what you say is true, and it's statistically true that the Ravens' defense is getting gashed, I hope that Mahomes is able to do the same thing that Jared Goff, or something similar to what
Jared
we saw.
Goff,
I don't think they're going to put up. They're not going to put up.
Also,
So
the thing
are they
is,
just going to put up 22? Because 22 is not going to get
look
done.
at the Cowboys put up 40 on the Giants, and
that's what I'm saying. We might see like a
Chiefs put up 22.
Chiefs offense here. It's like, all right.
Well,
inept against the Giants, inept against the Ravens.
Can they keep up? Well, how will they defend the Ravens?
Well, that's the thing is, I don't think Baltimore's scoring 40. And so it's football's so weird is the wrong word. But it felt yesterday like Ravens offense, let's just take out the garbage time touchdown. You know what I mean? It felt like they were moving the ball, the offense was good, and they had just made the story wasn't that the Ravens offense yesterday was bad, it was that they couldn't get any stops. And they had 24 points.
Yeah.
With the game, you know what I mean? With the game feel, if they had ended on 24, and it's just the Chiefs ended the other game on 22, and the offense felt awful.
Yeah.
And so it's just there's that piece of it.
They have 1st and goal from Detroit's 3.
Yep.
With Derrick Henry and
0.
Lamar and couldn't push it in.
And then
so that's something they got to clean up.
And the next drive, when they had a goal line opportunity, they ended up scoring anyway. They decided to have Derrick Henry throw a pass. It was a weird game.
I like that Lamar was mad at Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Well, I think because Lamar was wide. I get it.
I'm Derrick Henry.
I'm not calling that play.
Lamar's like, hey.
I'm not calling that play. I mean, I'm not. He almost threw a freaking pick.
But I understand what you're saying. But my only pushback would be, Goff was really good when they asked him to be yesterday. The story of that game was the Ravens getting run on. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Almost to a historical level. I know the Chiefs don't have the ability to do that. That's the concern for Kansas City is right now it looks like the Ravens' run defense is a huge liability. And is that right now is the Chiefs' running back room the biggest weakness on the team? That part is a concern for that game, to be fair.
News out of New York. Russell Wilson era is over. The Jaxson Dart era underway. Dart will be under center when the Giants take on the Chargers. Here's how Russ's moderately short 3-game tenure went with the Giants. Washington, all right, hey, first game, just getting my feet wet. Passer rating of under 60. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Then you got to feast on the Cowboys, and we're like, holy cow, almost 500 yards, 3 touchdowns, passer rating of 123. Then the Chiefs came to town. No touchdowns, 2 bad interceptions, passer rating at 44. Was this the right time to make this move? Also, Super Bowl champion Greg Jennings is here.
I understand, like Nick, you said yesterday, you don't want his first game to be against the Chargers, which I do understand. But look, it's the NFL. You're playing good teams. You're going to face great teams. And even the bad teams are still good. It's the NFL. Mm-hmm. And that Saints game a week from now or 2 weeks from now is in New Orleans. This at least is at home. And I agree. I would have liked to have seen him play a lesser team. But I think, Greg, that locker room may have been so – when you saw what Russ did in the last game, and particularly that one series where he threw the ball in the tunnel, he hit the goal post, you got a chance to score. I wonder if the spirit was just so broken from what the players were seeing, like on this series in particular, that maybe the team was like, we got to make a change. And right now, even though they're 0-3, I'm sure players may feel like there's still some hope. And maybe if this kid comes in, he looked good in the preseason and can give them a spark that helps. Whereas if you go to Jameis just for a game, Jameis may play well. Then it's 3 or 4 games. Who knows? And by the time you get to Jaxson Dart, the season is over. And maybe some of the players have mailing it in, and you don't get a good look at him. So, look, I'm fine with it. Russ definitely needed to be benched.
Look, there's never really a right time to move on. When a player plays this bad, it's telling, though. Like, we had the stats up there. Week 1, it is what it is. And this is in relation to what we have seen him become or turn into over the last few years. So if it's not going to look like what we saw a couple weeks ago against Dallas consistently, we're going to believe this is kind of who you are now. And so naturally, you start to see other things that push you and nudge you towards making decisions like this. When you see Dable and Neighbors getting into it on the sideline a few weeks back, like we didn't see that last year. We didn't see these types of things when you have other young quarterbacks having success or growing pains, whatever the case may be. It's a part of the game, to your point, and for me, the seat just keeps getting hotter. The flame keeps getting bigger.
For who?
For Dable,
right,
and for everyone involved. And so you made this point. You almost lower your level of expectation when you say, you know what, let's start fresh with this rookie.
I mean, listen, I think Jaxson Dart might end up being good. I don't really, I don't have a hot take on if Jaxson Dart's going to be a good pro or not. I liked him enough coming out of the draft. I didn't think them spending a late first-round pick on him was bad. We'll see. I hate this process. If Jaxson Dart is ready to start in week 4, he was ready to start in week 1.
Probably.
So I don't like that part of it. I said yesterday, I didn't like at all that it's very clear either Dable or Shane or both of them or people higher than that, of which there's only a few, were very, very open with Collinsworth and Tirico about how excited they are to bench Russell Wilson and go to Jaxson Dart. And I also think, personally, again, this is just my gut, they are not basing this off for this week what is the best for Jaxson Dart. They're basing it off, this is a home game and we don't want to be booed the whole time. And it is bad for our job security and bad for us to have the owner see everyone booing us, and instead people will be excited because the kid is playing.
Regardless of the result.
Regardless of the result, people will be excited because Russ's game against the Cowboys gave you enough, for lack of a better term, plausible deniability to start in one more game, and then you have the Saints on the road, less pressure on the kid, all of it. And that's not what they're doing. And so I think the process has been bad with the Giants and this brain trust from the beginning. I think signing the quarterback stuff has been bad. It just flatly the way they've done it. The flip side, the other side of this conversation is, for us, in my opinion, twofold. One is, if you were the Cincinnati Bengals, would you call the New York Giants? with Jake Browning's 5 interceptions in the last 2 weeks and the team at 2-1. And if they don't, is Russell Wilson's career over? Those are the, I think those
Would
are.
you, if
No.
you're the Bengals, would you?
I would not, but I have been more down on Russ than most people for 4 years now. Like, I thought he was done his last year in Seattle. That was 4 teams ago.
If Cincinnati Bengals should not call Russ. Like, he almost forced them to make this call because of how bad. Like, there's a difference between, like, not having good games and just not giving your team a chance to win.
Right.
When we look at that sequence you're talking about, that goal-to-goal sequence, those 4 consecutive plays, when you're talking about a veteran who has a resume like his, you at least got to give me some glimmer of hope, and to not be able to
ball,
do
maybe.
something wild. It's like you can't allow it to look like that, and then the fans are booing. The players are disgruntled. The locker room, the chatter just continues to get louder and louder and louder, and then say, you know what, let's do it one more time. No,
That's fair. Brew, I feel like he has played for large stretches of since he left Seattle of what I have called a selfish brand of football that I can only attribute to trying to protect his Football Reference page for an eventual Hall of Fame case. Like it is. And you would like to think that you're not doing that in the final 2 minutes of a game that, you're down 13, so technically you have a chance. But it's hard. I don't know what else you attribute that type of misses to. By 50, are they misses or throwaways? You can't throw it away on 4th and goal.
No.
You know what I mean? You can't throw it so I don't.
But the ball bounced off the upright. So it's either a throw so bad I bounced it off the upright,
or
it was a decision. So it's either way, it's really bad.
Yeah.
It's not good. You know what? Just to put a fine point on it, something I learned from Greg, from my Patriots when we were down in the dumps.
Proper form.
No, that's true too.
You
we were trying to talk about Gerard May. I was like, you guys do anything well? And I was like, no, last year. I do like this because it reminds me of a little bit of what Dan Campbell did with the Lions. Like, we're not even going to have to win games. We have to establish an identity.
Yeah.
And when it's like Abdul Carter, the defense hasn't been good, but he's a guy. Mm-hmm. Scadaboo is a guy and has a certain vibe. Malik Neighbors is a guy, has a certain vibe. And Jaxson Dart's a guy with a certain vibe. They all of a sudden feel kind of like a nice Broadway, kind of cool, young team. Now, is Dayball the coach for that team? I don't know, but I understand that team. Mm-hmm. Cool, young players with a certain swagger to them that might go,
5 and 12.
But it's an identity. But it's an identity. It's not just
something you can latch on.
It's an interesting dinner party too. Neighbors, Scadaboo, Abdul Carter, and Jaxson Dart. I'd love to be a fly on that.
I'm into that.
Oh my goodness.
I'm into
They
that.
better win
They
some
probably
games
got
to
some
save
takes.
They're going to.
Reverberate past the sun.
Jalen Hurts lit up the Rams and talked to his offensive coordinator during the game. Some people are saying this was a told-you-so game that resulted in Donovan McNabb saying you need to trust Jalen. Is it time for the Eagles to lean in more on Jalen Hurts?
I think he should throw it a little more. I think he's averaging about 23 passes a game. I said going in, 28, 29-ish, that's where I want him. But more than the passes, because look, believe it or not, he's thrown more passes than Lamar Jackson. Lamar's only thrown 75. He's thrown 77. Jordan Love's thrown 78. So, he's throwing it a decent amount.
But the second half of this game did all that work.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's
But I'm more concerned about how they're throwing the football, because you keep showing these charts where they're throwing all these little dink and dunk passes with him. Throw the ball downfield. If you throw it 25 times a game, but there's a significant number are downfield, I would be happy with that. And look, you also got to look at, we got 2 great wide receivers who understandably want some touches, want some targets. So keep them, and not to mention a tight end and a running back that can catch the ball. And your running back isn't getting a lot of yardage right now. So yeah, they should throw it more, but more importantly, throw it more downfield.
Initially, I was with you. I'm like, yeah, they got to lean into Jalen Hurts a lot more. And then I delved a little deeper into who they are and what they've become. This is their identity. Donovan McNabb was saying, they don't have an identity yet. Well, they do have an identity. It's just not being put on display the way we saw it last year. They want to run the ball. Mm-hmm. That's who they are. And last year, the first 3 games, they threw the ball over 30 times.
Yeah, and it didn't.
The 4th week, they did that as well. Jalen Hurts had, what was it? I want to say he had
2-2, right?
3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions in those games. And then for 9 weeks after the Bucs lost, for 9 straight weeks, he did not throw the ball, attempt passes more than 30 in the game. For 9 straight weeks. Pittsburgh, week 17, he does it. The playoff run, he didn't do it again. Their key to success was not that. Who they want to be, you kind of alluded to it. When you look at their average passes, their average rushes, I got the numbers. We can look at them. This is what they want to be. They want to run the ball, and they want to average about 25 passes a game. It has been the key to their success. It has eliminated the turnovers, and when you look at that 9-game stretch, 1 turnover, 1 interception.
So can I jump in, though?
Yeah.
Leave those numbers up. So here's the issue, though. The 57 yards a game you're missing.
Correct.
Rushing from last year to this year.
Absolutely.
And which has then led to, in my opinion, the 40 yards per game you're missing in the passing game. Because like those, they build on each other. So here would be my question that I understand that's who they want to be. They want to be what the Lions were yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Our quarterback can make the big throws. We need him to, but we're going to run it down your throat. They haven't been that. They also, in my opinion, have a little margin of error now because they are the defending champs. They do have that pedigree. And much like I have said, I thought the Chiefs in years past would at times use beginning parts of seasons to figure things out and try things out, so to speak, because we know what we're great at, what our bread and butter is. Let's see if we can add more to it. What is the harm in letting Jalen try? Like, okay, last year at the beginning of the year, it didn't work. Maybe you're a better player. 2 years ago, to Brew's point, we let you try more than we do now. You almost won league MVP, or it's finished top 3. AJ wants you to do it. I think Jalen's post-game press conference on the field that you pointed out yesterday was an illusion that he kind of would like to do it. And what you're doing right now is working-ish. It's working in that your team has been good enough to win. You had no business being in that giant. You shouldn't have needed 2 blocked field goals and a shutout in the second half, or most of the second half, to have a chance against the Rams. I would give him a shot at it because maybe Saquon also could use a little breather.
It will open things up for Saquon. What do you think about throwing it more downfield, though? Even if you throw it 25 times.
That part I'm all for because the style of receivers that they have, that is who they are. Like Devontae Smith, deep threat. A.J. Brown, obviously a deep threat who can make contested plays as well on the ball. But for me, when I look at this team, once you've established the identity of who you are, they are so locked and loaded on this is what we do. Mm-hmm. We don't deviate. We're unwilling to deviate unless we absolutely have to and we need to and we know we can go to it. I think what we're all saying is kind of like you were just saying with the Chiefs, because you feel like, or a lot of people feel like Jalen Hurts has earned the right to say, here, man, here's the keys to the car.
And it might open things up for Saquon.
Here's the keys to the car. If something were to happen, I trust and know you're going to come back and let us know why that happened. It won't probably happen again. I don't believe that you make that mistake. And if you do, man, it's okay. You're Jalen Hurts. You're still our guy.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.